Right. So, Mike, I wanted to start really by just asking you a bit about what do you think it is that prompts people to apply for the course and come on the course?
I think this notion of wanting to be a coach might float about in people's head for a number of years for all sorts of reasons. Perhaps they've
Mm.
had good coaching experiences themselves. And then once you decide you want to be a coach, there's obviously the problem of how do I become it? And it is a process.
Mm.
It's not just a one-off. And obviously doing a course is a good first step in that journey.
Mm.
I think what is interesting about the Birkbeck course is that it's not just the coaching skills of being able to ask good coaching questions and being able to have a conversation with somebody in a room. It is also perhaps about the things that you don't really think about that go on in the background that make that experience good. So that might be about working ethically, about thinking what is going on between you and the client, about contracts, about all sorts of things. So you don't know what you don't know before you start. And actually going through this can set out the map for the rest of the territory in terms of becoming a coach. And I think it is a process of identity formation, which takes a while. It's not just a one-off.
Mm. Yes, I guess what you're saying here is that it's more than a set of skills.
Mm.
This is something which is much more in depth, something which is more about understanding how and why coaching is and how and why you might become a coach. So there's something more than just a toolkit of knowledge or skills.
And if you think about the course itself, what would you say that toolkit is that sort of makes it different from other approaches to learning about coaching?
I guess one of the main things which is really important to us in the way that we're teaching is primarily that we're teaching something at depth. We're not teaching just a set of sort of superficial skills. We're helping people, as you say, understand about what it is like to be in relationship with somebody in the role of a coach, and to understand that from the position not just of the coach but also of the client. So a lot of the work that we do on the programme is sitting in the seat of both the client and the coach. So that's one of the things I think that differentiates us. And we're also really focused, as we are, because we're in the School of Organisational Psychology, we're focused very much on evidence-based practice. So it's not ideas or tools just out of thin air. It's based in something which is really kind of rigorous and something which has an academic background behind it. So it's a combination, I guess. It's an unusual combination of both the knowledge about becoming a coach as well as the academic knowledge and theory and research that supports us to practice rigorously and with an academic support.
Yeah, I'm aware of that if you sort of look at things like LinkedIn posts, there's often a debate about coaching or there's questions that come up, and that's a very short-term conversation. Whereas if you go to the literature, that conversation might have been happening over years, if not decades. So there's a sense of a bit more depth, as you say, and you're coming from an evidence base rather than what you feel like doing on the day. What else do you think we do that is different?
I guess one of the other things is that we have this combination of both the academic and the way in which you actually practice the skills and that skills development, which is core to the course. It's a relatively unusual thing to have in combination on a coaching program, along with the academic basis as well. So that means that we are doing two things in parallel. And in addition to that, what we're also doing is helping coaches understand what's the difference between working digitally and working in person. I mean, that's such a big debate, currently in the coaching world. And it's become, since COVID, really important that everyone gets to understand, how to combine those two things and how and why they're different. So there's something about the reflective practice overall, I guess, that sits underneath the whole of the way that we're working.
Yeah, and that idea of becoming a reflective practitioner and creating the space and the time to be able to not just do but think about what you've done, and what worked and what didn't, and what that might mean sitting in the client seat as well. That seems to be a very important part of what we do.
Yeah, I think the reflective practice, I suppose, sits at the centre of the programme. It sits right underneath it, and it's something which, again, back to what you were saying, about becoming a coach. Becoming a coach is about understanding, why am I a coach? Why do I want to be a coach? What sort of coach am I going to be? And keeping an eye on that throughout the whole engagement with clients. It's a really important part of the programme.
And just speaking to that, when people become coaches, they become career coaches, they do all sorts of other stuff. And you're sort of quite at the centre of the alumni network, having done it for a while now. Where do they end up?
Well, that's one of the things that I'm really proud of, I think. Actually, it's really interesting to see where everybody's gone. So we've got 25 years of alumni of the programme, and they're now involved in such an interesting variety of specialisms within the field, and definitely taking part in a whole range of different professional activities. Some of the students go on to work in private practice. That's quite a large proportion of the clients are interested. The students are interested in working in private practice. Some of them are working together as associate groups. So that's, I guess, probably about 30% of people. And then there are other people who are going to work in higher education, generally more and more strategic, more senior roles, working with MBA students, for example. We have a lot of our alumni working at London Business School, and we have our alumni working at the MSc, for example. So they tend to be working in quite senior roles. And then another group of people increasingly are coming on the programme who are looking to take this into their wider roles. So they could, for example, already be in HR roles or management roles, and they want to bring in a coaching knowledge or expertise to support them in their professional roles. And so I guess that's probably another 30% or so of people. And as time has gone on, there's an increasing role of social agencies, for instance, who are providing kind of mentoring or business startup or support for particular client groups. So clients with neurodiverse issues or clients who are kind of working in the NHS. So there's a whole sort of area now, perhaps, which didn't used to really exist, which is where we're able to provide a set of skills and training to support people in a whole variety of different settings.
Yeah, and I noticed that sort of social justice conversation is quite important on the course. That seems to flow through as a thread, as is this idea of coaching being accessible to all different types of groups. Would you like to say something about sort of, I suppose, professional identity and the sort of journey from the postgraduate certificate to the master's as well?
Sure, yeah. So I think it's really important to understand the difference between the two programmes. They obviously are a different sort of scale and scope. So just to understand, the certificate is a third the size of the master's. It might be a 1 year and a 2 year programme. Actually, the certificate is substantially smaller than the final master's. We've been running the master's programme here for over 30 years. It has a very good reputation in the marketplace, so it's well known as being a real quality, in-depth, substantial qualification with research clearly attached to it, which for many students is a really important part of their work here, because in essence what that offers people is a specialist area that they can then position as a service or a product, and they will become known for this as a specialism. And the full master's also enables people to work here in the career service at Birkbeck on a placement opportunity to build up substantial amounts of experience of working with student clients here in the university. So that is the full scale of the master's programme. The certificate programme, in essence, is an access route on to the master's for those people who are interested in transition onto a coaching future and not yet sure whether you want to commit entirely to that. So it's a good way of finding out whether this is the right kind of way to manage your own career transition or not. The certificate is also a way for those people who already have a coaching knowledge or coaching skill or qualification, but who want some of the academic knowledge to go with it. This is an opportunity for those people to add on to their own CPD. So if you've already got a lot of professional managerial experience, a certificate might be a course that would stand alone, but for most people it would be an access route onto the master's programme.
And I just want to sort of note that there are professional bodies sitting in the background again to speak to that sort of professional identity point, that we've got the Career Development Institute has been accrediting the course for a while, and recently we've got accreditation from the Association for Coaching, which might be interesting for people who are looking for that stamp of approval from a professional body.
Yeah, so both of them are very welcome accreditations. I know how important it is for people to have a recognised accredited course. And because we have dual accreditation, it means that indeed you can go off in different routes. So those people who want to become career specialists can look towards that as a route. And those people who are looking more to take off their coaching qualifications into an organisational setting, then there are two routes available. And they both enable you to go on to become on the register of both of those organisations.